positive. This is shameful in the most powerful country in the world. It is shameful that the numbers are indicating per 100,000 deaths, African Americans at 74%, Latinx are at 40%, but those numbers are higher in pockets of high Hispanic concentration. My colleague Vincente Gonzalez and I stood here some weeks ago, he virtually, to ask for a stay-at-home order, but really to fight for more medical care in this community. We were on the phone this week, or last week at a hearing, Friday, to indicate that they had no oxygen in his county of Hidalgo. Judge Cortez was begging for oxygen. And of course, in that same county, they have retained refrigerated trucks in the valley because people are dying. Funerals that were 5 a week are 5 a day. This is not America. So today we're going to speak to helping, that's why we're here, in a historic Latinx Hispanic community, and they are coming. We are grateful for that. In addition, it is important for all of you to know, and make it very clear that, thank you, make it very clear, well, were you hearing me? To make it very clear that the House of Representatives voted 2 months ago for $3 trillion to help Mayor Turner, Judge Hidalgo, to help the state, to help Commissioner Garcia in the work that he is doing, to keep the $600 that we would have for those who are unemployed, the lifeline, and to provide eviction and mortgage support so that people are not in the streets with their family members. We voted 2 months ago. I am home for a momentary reprieve. This morning, our Democratic leadership is meeting with the Secretary of the Treasury to insist on the $600 that I submitted in my request for the HEROES Act. To insist on the cash disbursement, I support $2,000. To insist on the funding for state and local governments, we were at $700 billion and growing. The milk is now coming. To insist on the support for those who might be evicted and might be foreclosed on. And we ask our Justice of the Peace, we know they're duly elected persons, but I know that they can find deep in their authority to have discretion to continue the case. I got some lawyers around me, they need to say amen, because I know that I can get a case continued. I can get a bill continued. I can get a motion at the council table continued. I can get one at the commissioner's court continued. And so I know I can get something in the Justice of the Peace continued. God knows people don't need to be evicted right now. Just think if Maria had no place to go, to be able to unfortunately die in dignity. So we are here today to reinforce several things. And that is that we are our brothers and sisters keeper. We also are looking to establish a hotline because we are hearing on the national level that people are suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder. I've added $7 million to the Department of Defense, which I hope they may be able to share with civilian population for post-traumatic stress disorder, but COVID-19 is creating post-traumatic stress disorder. Families are in need. And then we'll have a special presentation for the Harris County Jail, which has had one of the highest percentages of positive. And those jailers, those deputy sheriffs who are there are risking their lives. And we as well are working with the County Commissioner's Court to work on compassionate release, which I want to applaud you for, so that lives can be saved. We'll be giving them a special donation, and we thank Sheriff Gonzalez and Dr. Chappelle for his presence here today. Let me conclude my remarks by saying I can't suffer any more the disparities that have followed African Americans and Latinx community. We already know that our access to health care has not been acceptable. Now, in a glaring historical moment in this country, we have seen that they have lost their lives because of those disparities and lack of access to health care. We have fought consistently against the authoritarian ideas of undocumented persons not having access to health care. Thank goodness that local jurisdictions like the Harris Health can treat people, like the city health department can treat people irrespective of whether or not their status. That is what we want to ensure. Our children are preparing to go back to school. There are some of us who believe that until we meet certain standards, those children should be protected. We know what they need. We know they need exercise and friendship and fellowship. But when you're finding out now that children are not only positive, but they can transmit, then whose lives or who are we concerned about? Politics or the lives of our children and teachers? And so I continue to stand with the idea that we elected officials have to work collaboratively to bring whatever our resources are to get the schools where they need to be. That is what's in the HEROES bill, $175 billion to give to school districts directly for them to sanitize, put up plexiglass, do whatever they need to do to protect our children, for our parents. We just passed $50 billion to provide extra child care for those who have to go to work. So I think we are at a place where we want to be as potent as we can. So I'm glad to have a number of our elected officials here. Let me also acknowledge Safe Home Travel.
Safe Home Travel.
Yeah, I'm just trying to get a show of service. Come on, dear. Yeah. Safe Walk Home in tribute to Jose Flores. We love him. We love you. We love Stella. And we're grateful that I know that you will be there to help our children in whatever way we need to help our children.
That's right.
And we thank you both for coming out. And you know I stand alongside you along with all the other elected officials because your priority is safe children. And I know you want them safe from COVID-19. Did you want to say a word?
Yeah.
All right. She's fine. Safe Walk Home, North Side, have been protecting children since the horrific and heinous killing of our little young man, Jose Flores. God bless you. Thank you so very much. Now we'll yield to these very fine folks. Mayor Turner, do you want to close? Okay. And as I do that, I'm glad you mentioned that. I guess at least I had on one. But let me, as I put my mask back on, say this is why you keep hearing from Sheila Jackson Lee, because I've been tutored by the iconic John Robert Lewis. And so this is my good trouble mask. And whenever you folks start looking and saying, there she goes again, please know that I can't help myself. Because thank God for John Robert Lewis, who I sat next to for 25 years in the United States Congress. My heart is broken. A warrior has taken his wings. I can't believe he is gone. And as I continue to talk, I may not be able to continue this discussion. My brother is gone, my beloved friend who truly needs to have his story told, that even as he left the Edmund Pettus Bridge some many years ago, he never left standing in the way and getting in good trouble for whoever came to him. And my friends, I want you to know that we were arrested together, that he stood in the gap for children in cages, the mistreatment of people at the border. He stood in the gap for the incarcerated. He stood in the gap for those who lost their lives in the streets on gun violence. Oh my God, he stood in the gap, and we sat on the floor of the House and broke every rule because we could not stand the violence in this city, in this nation. So I'm going to put on my good trouble mask, and as I do that, I ask the mayor of the city of Houston to come forward at this time, Mayor Turner. you have any rights. Does anybody have any rights? Do you have any?
Thank you, Congresswoman.
Here it is. Here it is. Just a minute, ma'am. Let me put it here.
Thank you, Congresswoman, and please give it up to the queen of testing, Congresswoman Sheila Jackson-Lee. Certainly appreciate her. Dr. Barone, it's good to be with you and UMMC. I can't say enough for what you all are doing. To all of the elected officials, to Councilmember Cisneros, to the district, State Senator Carolyn Morado, thank you, Commissioner Adrian Garcia, thank you so very, very much for what you continue to do. Let me just be very brief. The numbers in July in the city of Houston were not good numbers. And quite frankly, the numbers in the state were not good. But we had more positive cases in July than March, April, May, June combined. We had more people to die in July than in March, April, May, June combined. July was not a good month for the city of Houston, neither for the state of Texas. We don't need to repeat in August, the month of July. The numbers need to come down, not gradually, they need to come down dramatically. Otherwise, what's happening in the community will end up in our hospitals, and people will get very, very sick, and people will die. And so I want to thank UMC, Congresswoman Sheila Jackson-Lee, and others for making the testing available. Please take advantage of the test. Okay? And what we are noticing too is that the number of people going to be tested, that number has started to come down. And I know people are tired and bored. But the virus is not tired and bored of us. So please, please, get tested. And what we are seeing is that there's a disproportionate impact, even more so, in the Hispanic community. It's hard to work remotely when you're out there on the front line. When you are the construction workers for residential and commercial construction, it's hard to social distance when there are multi-generations living in homes. When you don't have access to the health care that you need, when there are economic disparities. And so let me just encourage, we have to be very focused, very intentional in the month of August to bring the positivity rate down and to dramatically reduce the rapid spread in our communities. So thank you again. I want to thank all the people who are being very focused and doing all the right things. But let's continue to put these masks on, engage in the social distancing, to make sure we wash our hands, all of the things that we know work. Let's continue to do that. Thank you, Congresswoman Sheila Jackson. Thank you very, very much. Lastly, on red relief, let me just say, I want to thank the United States House of Representatives. So Congresswoman Sheila Jackson-Lee, and to the Speaker, to all of you in the United States House of Representatives, let me thank you for the steps that you all have taken. We really need the United States Senate to come forward very quickly, like yesterday. Okay, people are hurting right now. So we really need people to step forward. The United States Senate, we need your help. Cities need your help, but more importantly, people need your help, and we need the help right now. Thank you.
We certainly do. Thank you, Mayor, so very much. Let me just hold this at a distance and just say that as the mayor speaks his numbers, we've had the most deadliest last 24 hours in the nation with 1,000 dying. Florida has had the highest number. I've got my friends who left Washington yesterday in desperation to get home because our ICUs are crowded. And so we've got these hot spots and we can't let up. And so I'm going to say it, Governor Abbott, we need you to give authority to the county and city government to be able to do a science-based stay-at-home order, or however they decide that they need to do it. That is what Judge Cortez in Hidalgo County, he issued a voluntary one. He was so desperate. And so every scientist, including the many here in our community, epidemiologists, have said, if you just get us to clear the way, if we could just get a quiet moment so that people can isolate, And we know their homes that are multi-generational, but we can teach them how to do that so that they can be safe as well, and that we can get sort of a parting of the waters. For that reason, let me now acknowledge a state leader that I have relied upon over the years as she's made her way up, and I can count on giving her the call to get things done in this state, and that is our Senator Carol Everado, State Senator.
Thank you. Thank you for wiping the mic, too. Wow. Congresswoman, we can't thank you enough. You do everything in your power to lift up our community, not just in this effort, but we know we have counted on you for so many years, and you have led the charge on testing. Mayor, yes, she is the queen of testing. La reina de las pruebas, right, Commissioner? She is doing everything she can in her power, and we appreciate her work in Congress on the CARES Act, on fighting for us. And on a personal side note, thank you for your questions at the subcommittee hearing the other day on the Vanessa Guillen issue. Thank you for standing with our community. Right back at you, sister. Thank you. To our friends at UMMC, thank you for always being ready to partner with our communities, with our elected officials, and to our mayor and our city council member and Commissioner Garcia. I can't thank y'all enough because it has been our local elected officials who have gone beyond with the assistance for rental, advocacy on evictions, small business program that the commissioner has spearheaded. All of this couldn't happen without good leadership, and that's why we're here today, is to thank them, but to also encourage people to come out to this historic church here in the near north side for testing. We know that our Latino community is challenged with this virus because of health disparities that existed way before. I've always been an advocate for health, wellness, and fitness, especially when it comes to our communities of color. And this is why, because we've known that these disparities exist. Some people are acting like, wow, I didn't know that was the case. But we've known all along. This is why we've advocated for expansion of Medicaid.
Yes.
We've advocated for more grocery stores to get rid of food deserts in our community. Congresswoman, we can't thank you enough. And we wish you well as you go back to D.C. Keep up the good fight. Keep up the faith. And we've got your back here at home. Thank you.
Thank you so very much. My senator that I give a call to, and I heard her loud clap on giving authority to our local communities to make things right. Councilmember Cisneros and I have worked together over the years, and I appreciate her concern and interest on our schools, and collectively as elected officials we're going to certainly make sure that we're all working together. Thank you for being here in your district, Councilmember Carlos Cisneros. I'm sorry.
Thank you so much, Congresswoman. You were a tireless advocate for us, and it's so appreciated. Thank you for coming here to the near north side and drawing attention to us here, where we have such a concentration of people struggling with their health and the economics of today. We have a lot of needs that have all sprung from this virus, and the stresses that people are living under just we are in a desperate situation, and we certainly need your help. I have initiated a letter writing campaign from in my apartment complexes, from the landlords as well as tenants. And I know I've already heard back from your office, yes, we're there, but we're just trying to give you more ammunition. If you receive letters from more of the community, and I encourage everyone who's hearing me now, help them by writing, by calling in and saying, we need Congress to step up. We need Congress to make sure that included in the Senate, right? We really need the Senate. We know the House is with us already, but we need the Senate to step up and make sure that in this next stimulus package that there is rent relief. Thank you for all being here today, all of you. It's already been said very well, very eloquently by the speakers before me, but how grateful we are, how very grateful we are to everyone here today. Thank you.
The reason why all these elected officials are here, and the mayor included in the work that he's been doing on a regular basis, is because CDC has indicated that in 3 weeks, there may be 173,000, 183,000 dead Americans. Not in October, not in September, but in 3 weeks we may reach 183,000. We're at 153,000 now. They predict 183,000. And we have 4.5 million, the largest number of cases in the world. The largest number of cases in the world. We've tested 120,000 with UMMC's great leadership. Houston is really on the map for testing. You should hear the cries of people across the nation that they can't get a test. You should hear the time that they're waiting. And I'm pleased to announce that there will be some great work at UMMC with a lab that is going to help move their tests faster and faster and faster, because we know that if you don't get the result, you don't know what to do. Yeah. So we're going to be establishing a lab soon that will hopefully put them in the right category of getting those results back of all these people that are coming. And Mayor, I'm sure you won't mind that Butler Stadium is now in the hands of UMMC. And we want to thank you for all the work the city did. And that means we are testing. This is a model city for testing. You need to know that, because I have heard from my other colleagues, they are suffering. I'm talking about members of the United States Congress. So the visionary with Saeed Mohidin and Ms. Hebram for UMMC is Dr. Joseph Barone, the Chief Medical Officer, who will give us insight. Again, testing 120,000 plus, and now 20% positive. Those numbers have not gone down. That's what the state needs to know, that we're working on science. We're not working on our preferences. Dr. Barone.
Thank you very much, Congresswoman Sheila Jackson-Lee. 135 days, that's where we are today. And, you know, I never thought I was going to find my match as far as how much energy I have, but I think I did when I met the Congresswoman. I mean, we've both been working non-stop. And she's right, you know, 1 out of every 5 individuals that we have tested in the city is positive. Almost half of them are asymptomatic. Each person that is asymptomatic has the potential to infect more than 50 people, one person. So, you know, in all honesty, you can be killing people without knowing, and that's terrible. Yes, the last few days we have seen less numbers of people that want to be tested. I mean, they are tired of waiting in line. They are tired of waiting on the results. But the fact is, just like the Congresswoman said, the illness is here. It's not going anywhere. So don't expect this to disappear magically. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen until most of the community has some kind of immunity, and that's going to take a long time. Don't let your guard down. Don't let your guard down. The fact that you see people out there on the streets, don't follow them. It is as simple as the mayor and the Congresswoman have said, you know, if you keep your social distance, you wear your mask, you wash your hands, you can probably decrease the number of cases. If you can not go out, if you don't have to be out, you can do that. Whether or not other measures need to be established depends on how much social conscience we use. When I wear a mask, I wear a mask to protect you. I don't wear a mask to protect me. If we both don't wear a mask, then we don't have respect for each other. Like Mayor Turner would say, as Americans, we can do much better on this. Much better on this. And again, that's not my quote, that's his quote. So I'm stealing it from him. But you know, but I feel compelled to say that. Please, people, come, get tested. It's free. For those of you in the Hispano-American community, don't worry. These are safe places. Places where you can get tested, places where nobody's going to ask you about your immigration status, nobody's going to call ICE, La Migra, or any similar things. Get tested. If we test you, we'll be able to know who you are as far as placing you in a quarantine and prevent you from infecting others that you may not even know that you are infecting. Thank you.
Thank you. I want you to know Dr. Varone is in that unit sometimes around the clock. I know it because I've tried to reach him because people are still coming into emergency rooms. I want to emphasize this as I introduce our county commissioner, and that is, this is a safe place. There are no questions asked. We hope the media will share that this is no pre-registration, no cost, and no assessment of anyone's status. This is a safe place. This is a holy place. This is a place, as are the other testing sites, that we've been able to push back on anyone trying to ascertain or to be able to block anyone from getting where they need to go. So we are grateful to UMMC. We're grateful to the city using the funding in the appropriate manner, and as well opening it up to everyone that can possibly come. Let me say this. I've watched the Commissioners Court and the work that they have done. Everything is to empower the unempowered, to be able to get housing, to be able to help with the flooding that we know. Mayor, I don't want to say it, so let me just be positive, but this is an active hurricane season. And my friends who left, my Floridians who left from Washington, I wish them best luck because they were going in to the storm. And they are our brothers and sisters. They helped us when we were with Hurricane Harvey, and then they went back and we had to help them. We're just friends together, and county has to be engaged in this flood control, and when we're in the midst of this, the city and county work together. So Commissioner Garcia, we are delighted that you are here, and you have certainly been with us as a fighter against COVID-19. Thank you to Harris Health for opening its doors. Thank you for having a facility, a system that takes the sick. We couldn't do it without you. Commissioner Adrian Garcia.
Thank you, Congresswoman Sheila Jackson-Lee. Thank you for your leadership. Thank you for finding the need and the purpose to get into good trouble. Thank you for being just a person that, as the senator alluded to, we can always count on. If there's a problem, if we need a voice, a loud voice, a strong voice, a dependable voice, we all say, call Congresswoman Sheila Jackson. Thank you so very much. We love you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes.
And Mayor, thank you for all your leadership, and we want to keep you, we want to keep the Congresswoman, our senator, all of the elected officials in our thoughts and prayers, because we know that many are working around the clock, many are leaving their phones next to their pillows, taking calls, trying to work with the issues.
Yeah.
And for that reason, I also want to thank County Judge Lina Hidalgo and Commissioner Rodney Ellis for their respective work and commitment to our community and to our county. But to that end, let me also just say to Dr. Baron, to UMMC, Saeed, we want to commend UMMC, United Memorial Medical Center, because when they knew things were going to get hot and busy, they didn't ask, well, where's the contract? They didn't ask, well, who's going to do what and how we're going to. They just said, come and we will help. And they continue to do that on a daily basis. Thank you. Thank you. And when he said we're 135 days into this, he's absolutely right. But he's also 130 days without a day off.
Yeah.
And so we want to commend you and ask you to also take care of yourself. And let me just also say that as I see a couple of friends, I see Jesse over there. This is a historical church, Jesse. It feels like 100 years ago we were in those CYO dances here. But I will just say to Father Thomas, I want to thank him. He was standing around, but I just want to commend Father Thomas because of his beautiful, beautiful heart,
Yes.
and for his commitment to the community.
Yes.
And I will tell you that although Father Thomas is, he should otherwise be called Father Tomas, because it's hard for the Latino know the Latinx community is so huge and beautiful and welcoming and embracing. But let me also just close on these points before I say some words in Spanish. That, you know, Congresswoman, Senator, and Mayor, you know, I watch the news as I see the President talk about sending troops to Portland and sending troops to Chicago. If you want to think about what has happened in these 135 days, Mayor, it's been 729, I think, at the last count of the COVID deaths. Combined here in Houston, Harris County, 729. Imagine if those had been homicides. What kind of rhetoric the President would be regurgitating. But he says nothing about sending resources. And we see the governor sending troops to the border, spending billions of dollars sending troops to the border, but he sends no resources to Houston, Harris County. And so I ask for those who can hear to get on your social media and tell the governor we are having a hurricane for the last 135 days. This is a rainy day. Go to the state contingency fund and share it with the local communities. Do not be absent. Otherwise, I will follow with Governor Perry and say, Harris County should secede from the state. We should become the state of Harris if we're doing it by ourselves. But we need the state to step up and be supportive of our efforts here. Entonces, cuando veo a mi amigo Gabriel con la revista ¿Qué onda? También le quiero decir a la comunidad ¿Qué onda? Pónganse las máscaras, lávense las manos, ven las noticias, las cifras, las estadísticas, que nuestra gente está muriendo por falta de respetar el virus. Entonces, ¿qué onda? Right, Gabriel, ¿qué onda? Pónganse atentos, porque sabemos que ustedes tienen que trabajar, sabemos que están obligados a trabajar y sostener sus familias, pero ¿qué onda? Pueden trabajar con máscaras y guantes, pueden trabajar de cualquier manera en un modo seguro y sano, pero por favor háganlo, porque nuestra congresista Sheila Jackson Lee, nuestro alcalde Sylvester Turner, la senadora Carol Alvarado, su servidor, la jueza Lina Hidalgo, el comisionado Rodney Ellis, los miembros del concilio como Carlos Cisneros, todos estamos preocupados y pendientes de cada uno de ustedes. Pero ¿qué onda? Pónganse las máscaras. Si no tienen que ir a lugares donde se sabe que no se está respetando el virus, y sabes que hay mucha gente que no se están poniendo las máscaras, no se arrimen, ve a otro lugar, quédense en su casa, pero por favor respeta el virus, porque ya tenemos 135 días de este daño que está sucediendo, está afectando a todas nuestras familias. Entonces le doy las gracias nuevamente a la congresista Sheila Jackson Lee por su liderazgo. Ella es una persona que siempre podemos depender de ella, y como dijo la senadora, nosotros somos Sheila Jackson Lee igualmente. Gracias. We're Sheila Jackson Lee as well.
Muchas gracias. Thank you, Commissioner. Thank you so very much. Muchas gracias to all of you. All of you have taken the calls and the pain of our constituents. We're in a fighting mood. We can't have any more deaths down here.
That's right.
And as John Lewis said, good trouble, but he said, get in the way.
Right.
And so I will be going back to Washington, but I'll also be reaching out to the governor's office to ask about the authority that can be given. We have already written letters. Members of Congress have written letters. Congressman Villa and Vincent Gonzalez, and as well Congresswoman Garcia and Green and Jackson Lee, to ensure that we get the help down in this hot spot that has been designated by the White House as a hot spot. I'm also grateful that we have registering to vote. It's going on right now, and we're excited about that. Register, show up, and vote. Thank you for that. And now we're going to make a brief presentation. We want all of our good folks to join us to give out some goodies and also milk. But we'll also open it for questions. But just for a moment, let me have Dr. Savelle come around, if he can watch this way. And I think these are, we know you've got those who are incarcerated, but we also, we know those people are detained, and many of them are not guilty. They have not been charged. We want to make sure that we give you tons and tons of masks that you can double up on for likewise the deputies as well as your detainees, inmates. And this gift is from Megan Stallion. Megan Stallion is a Houstonian, but she happens to be a fabulous female, young hip-hop artist.
All right.
And she has sent these to you because people incarcerated are human beings as well.
Yes, ma'am.
They are human beings. So, Doctor, you want to say a word here?
Thank you, Congresswoman, excuse me. On behalf of